G'day everyone, it's Rach here from Rara's Realm. Welcome to video 19 on my FlossTube channel. If you're new to my channel, firstly welcome, and I am recording my year of the prolific stitch, where I have gone from being one project at a time to multiple projects, mainly 8, which is probably not a lot by a lot of people's standards, but it's a lot for someone who's only ever done one at a time. If you are a subscriber and you have been here before, welcome back. I'd like to just point out, I don't say it very often and I feel I should just say it a bit more frequently, I do this in one take. Generally, unless I balls up in the first minute, I just keep going, pretty much, unless something really horrific happens, which I don't think it has. This is the second take now because my father was clattering too much in the other room, so I decided just to start again because it was only at 40 seconds. So this is a one-take wonder. I don't edit or anything like that, so hopefully we've got this far, and I've got subscribers, so people are obviously okay with it. I've got 4 projects for show and tell today. I haven't got any haul. In fact, I haven't even ordered any haul. Partly because this past weekend has been the Nashville releases. I have got a nice big list creeping into the second page of things that I have seen, that I'm interested in. I have paid for, where's my list gone of everything I want to talk about? I think I mentioned in the last video or the one before I have ordered 4 things through Cindy Sawley, I believe her name is, and those 4 charts have been paid for and they should be being sent from Nashville, was my understanding, in these next couple of days. I'm assuming she sends a shipping notice. I don't know, I've not used her before, so if you actually have used her before, does she send a shipping notice? Would be quite useful to know. So I think I ordered the 4 things that I had seen at the time, which was, I don't know, a week or 10 days ago, and I haven't gone back and pre-ordered any of the other new releases. I'll just get the things that I'm interested in over the next few months. I'm having, I would just say loosely, issues with my auto ship program for Farmhouse Christmas. I'm waiting to see how this week develops. The plan of attack, as I understood it, and I did clarify it twice, is that she sends an invoice. Because there's been changes to postage from the US, it was going to cost a lot more to send just one chart on its own. But if you stick a couple more charts in the pack, the postage isn't really affected and you get a bit more value, if you like. So the plan was, she sends the invoice, I reply back with a couple of charts to add to the pack, she sends a new invoice, I pay, it gets shipped. She sent the invoice, I've replied back with a couple of charts, they've sent an invoice saying you still haven't paid the first invoice. So I've replied back and said, well, I've done what I was asked to do. It's Nashville, so I'm assuming it's all got lost and everything. So I'm waiting, I haven't had another reminder to pay. I'm waiting to see how this week progresses now, and if they don't correct or find the old email with the other charts and they send me another reminder, I'm going to cancel the auto ship because I can't be bothered with that. It works fine for people, you know, but being out of America, not being able to pick up a phone and go, hang on, I did reply to your email, these are the 2 charts I wanted, you know, it's quite frustrating. So I think if we don't have a positive week this week, then I'm going to cancel the auto ship and I'll just buy the charts as they release from 123 Stitch, who I never seem to have any problems with anyway. So alright, well that leads into the projects, and the first project is Farmhouse Christmas. So if this is your first time watching me, I only got the chart about probably less than 2 weeks ago. I ordered, in my first shipment of the auto ship, I ordered the chart, the fabric and the threads. So all the called for threads, all the called for, well, the called for chart, the called for threads and the called for fabric, enough to do it as one piece. I started 2 weeks ago, so no, okay, I must have had this for about 3 weeks, because I started at Stitchy Root 2 weeks ago. So this is Farmhouse Christmas. This is part 1 of 9, and I think when I showed it to you, I either had completed the border or part of the border. So I then, let's add to my pile on the floor, what I have gone on and done is just a few little elements to start marking off some counting points, really. So the fence and the bird, the top of the barn and one of the trees, and a snowflake. I'm not fond of the fabric, as I've said before, and people have suggested various things. I've actually just decided to work with it. You can see the lines. I stitch in hand and I roll things up, and I'm sure that the more I use it, the softer it will be. I'm just going to fight through it. I stitch on it 4 days out of 40, I think, is my rotation. So every 40 days it gets 4 days of work, so I'm not fighting it all the time. So it should be okay. It's due to be picked up again towards the end of next week. Will be its next 4 days, so that's where we're at. Then, so last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, yes. Last Monday was the start of my free slots, my 4 days free to do whatever I want, stitching wise, which could be a small, it could be just taking one of my projects and doing a bit more work on it. So that was one of the days, was doing a bit on Farmhouse Christmas. My other goal in the 4 days was I'm working on Little House Needleworks Orchard Valley Quilting Bee, and when I showed this to you I had completed all the elements of the middle block but not the border, so my goal was to finish the border in the free slots. So I have managed to do that and a little bit more. So that's where we're at now. Bar Farmhouse Christmas, all of these charts have started since the 1st of January, depending on when they came up in the rotation. This actually started on the 1st of January. So it's quite big. So I've done the whole border of that top middle block now, and I've started down into the next block. It's 4 pages. It's probably easier to show the chart actually. Excuse me, bending down again. So it's 4 pages and it's basically done like that. So even though I've gone into this side, I'm working up here in this corner first. So I've got the blue house and the sun, and then this corner of the quilt on this page, and then that page will be finished. So this is being done, it's the called for DMC, and it's lamb's wool, and I would suggest, given the size of it, it's 28 count lamb's wool. I don't think it's 32. We've still got one more block. You can see I've just started a little bit of that. Another block this size over here. So it'll be a decent size. I don't think I could stitch on anything smaller than 32 at the moment. I haven't tried, but then I'm working on Harvest Keeper by Plum Street Samplers. But she is a little bit further back. I feel like I'm like this. Again, this chart is split into 4 pages, and I have been working up here. And I was partway, I had just started this bee skip, and my goal really, because a little tiny bit of it was cut off into this part, but my goal was to do this bee skip, to finish that, which I have managed to do. So this is now page 1 of 4. That page is complete. There are a couple of missing leaves which are on this page at the end of this branch here, but otherwise this page is complete. And if you've been watching my videos, you know I've got an issue here. This should be in line, but there are 2 stitches difference, and I don't know where the mistake is. And I mentioned last week that I thought I would just add a couple of stitches around here, but what I've decided to do, it's getting sore, I'm actually going to finish the vine. If you see, I've done the whole top of the vine there. I'm going to do the other sides of the vine, complete the vine when this comes up again, and just see if how they match up first before I start adding in more stitches, because the problem could well be in here, not here. So I'm going to do the vine and then I will figure out what on earth I'm doing. But yeah, I did think this would stitch up a little bit quicker because it was a smaller chart, but I didn't take into account all the counting and everything that needs to go into figuring out the branches and all of that. But yeah, so one skip down, you can see the top of the next one at the bottom there, and then there's another one that sits on the ground. So yeah, so that's my plan of that. Then did I have a day where I didn't actually do? Not then. Yeah, I must have taken a few days to finish that B skip, I think, actually. Then Friday project 5 starts, so I'm now in the second half of my rotation, and there are four projects and then another 4-day free slot. So project 5 is Santa's Village, and I am on the second one, which is Poinsettia Place. And when I showed this to you last time it was seen, I had done the house and a couple of snowflakes up the top, but nothing below the house, and I hadn't started on the poinsettias. I didn't actually stitch on Friday at all. I just had a day where I did other things. And I knew yesterday, which was Sunday here, it's Monday here in New Zealand, I was in my stitchy group, the second meeting of my stitchy group was taking place. So my initial thought was that I would outline all the snow and fill the snow in when I was at stitchy group. Then I wouldn't really have to think much. She was just basically filling in a field. But I started doing that on Saturday, making the outline, and I got sick of doing that. So then my next goal for stitchy group was to get at least one of the flower pots done. So I stitched on this on Friday, no, not on Friday, on Saturday and on Sunday. And I've got, where are we? We're on this side. So I have managed to do both the flower pots and the flower at stitchy group, which I was quite pleased with. And I've got half the snow done under the house, but it's got to come right down here under the flowers as well. And then I've got to do the vine like the one next to it. So those are 1 and 2 together, and then there's some snowflakes up here. The Oscars are about to start here in about half an hour. So my plan is to do a bit more of this while I'm watching the Oscars. I won't get it finished, but I'll make good strides. And then I'll probably, depending on where I stop today, because I think today is the last day of this one in this rotation. Yes, so tomorrow is the next project. Depending on how much I get done today and what's left, I might put this into the free slots and try and finish this block before the next rotation starts. So we'll see. We'll see how we go. It wasn't, doing the flowers weren't too difficult when you were talking. I managed quite well in the end. Okay. I'm stitching this. I didn't say anything about the Harvest Keeper. This is also a lamb's wool. In fact, I think most of what these are, apart from the Farmhouse Christmas, is lamb's wool. And this is the called for DMC and specialty threads. Each chart has at least 2 specialty threads. So in this chart, I think it's the roof and the flower pots is a specialty thread, and this green here is a specialty thread. So yeah, so that's just a really nice stitch. The other thing I noticed, and I don't know how I'm going to correct this because I'm sure as hell not unpicking it, is I forgot to put the doorknob on the door. So I'm either thinking of going back in with maybe a French knot, or maybe going over it with some black, but it depends on how much that raises it up, I don't know. So we'll just see. We'll see. So that's where we're at. That's my 4 projects. As I say, I'll do a bit more on that this afternoon while I'm watching the Oscars. Then I have got my Quaker starts again tomorrow, and following that is Lucy, so Lucy Calcutt. So I will have those 3, what I do today, plus those 2 to show you next week. So that's where we're at. Had a really good day at Stitchy Group. We had 1 more new person, so there were 6 of us yesterday. Really interesting to see everybody's, what people are working on. One lady showed her finish that she was working on 2 weeks ago, which is just the most incredibly beautiful lilac-y purple rose, and the green of the foliage is beautiful, and it's a big piece. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, so that was really good. We're getting on well with that. So that's me done. I'm going to try not to waffle. I'm going to go and get organised to watch the Oscars. Get this uploaded. It's Census Day in New Zealand tomorrow, so I've got to do that. So that's it. Have a good week. I hope you've got a nice big list of Nashville charts. If there's anything that's really jumping out at you, share it with me. I'd be keen to know. Yeah, so stitch all you want to stitch, and I will catch you next week with progress from this oncoming week. Alright everyone, have a good week, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye bye.